Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters Net podcast. I'm your host Brian, and joining me today are two very special guests hailing from Austria. We got Ella and Mike. How y'all doing?
Very good, thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Which part of Austria are you guys hailing from?
Well, actually, two different parts. Mike is from Wiener Neustadt, that's Lower Austria, and I am from Styria, which is more in the south part.
Oh, really? Actually, that's the first time I've heard about that too. I know when I was looking up history, I always heard about Lower Austria too, but I guess it was because that's when the Habsburgs were all ruling too. So I always think they always did the whole geographical thing. Kind of strange, but it is what it is. So I guess, how you guys been recently? What's new?
What's new? Well, we are working on finishing our album, which has the title Confused and will contain 10 tracks. All songs are already done, so we in the final phase, so to speak, in mastering the songs. We have a band, which we are now, I would say, training to do the live gigs because it was always just the two of us. And last year we finally really got the people together to play with us because it was quite hard finding people for that. It was not easy.
Yeah, I know what you mean there too. It's always hard to find the drummer and maybe another guitar player at best. Because I assume Mike, you're the lead guitarist of the group.
He's the lead guitarist, yeah. And
That's me.
yeah.
All right, sounds good. You guys get to elaborate more on your music in just a bit here too, and just to fill in the audience, these guys are part of the group Faceless Objects too. So we'll talk about that just in a sec here too. But I want to welcome you guys to my podcast right here, and the way it's going to work is I'm going to ask you guys some simple questions. Let's get to know you more both as the musicians, but also as the individuals too. So it was pretty much a coincidence this week because they started doing March for Women, and that's actually the first time I've heard them actually mention that on the radio. So I don't know if it's something new they're trying out, but nonetheless, we are all gentlemen here. So Ella, you can go first. So let's start right with this one. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. I guess, how'd you guys become musicians?
Oh, well, I always loved music since I was a little kid, and I did play a little bit keyboard when I was young, but that was just, melodies from what you hear and you try it out. Always wanted to play guitar, but somehow ended up with the bass, and I just love it. I wouldn't change that anymore. And singing, I think that was from when I was a little kid. I always liked to sing, and I love it, and that's just part of me. I think that's you're just born with that thing in your blood, I guess.
It's all in the genes. It was
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, it was inherited, as we like to say. I guess, were your parents real big into music too? They do anything with like music-wise?
No. Nothing. Not anyone. I think my sister played a little guitar, no acoustic guitar, but no, they also the music taste is quite different, I would say, to what we do or what we like. So a little bit the black sheep of the family.
I should say it's a gift. Some
Yeah.
piece of it. So yeah. All right. And Mike, what's your story?
It's the same story as mine. Always tried to play guitar, bass, drums, keyboard, and keep doing it. Composing from 12 years on.
A lot of different things, also film music
Mhm.
and for other bands and producing songs. So
Classic movie tracks,
Oh, you did movies too.
guitar.
Let's say, oh, you did movies too. You're doing the Hollywood of Austria.
Not really.
It's still pretty cool nonetheless. I mean, being part of entertainment, that's definitely something too. I guess, are you also trying classical music as well? Or is this just strictly rock and metal sort of metal
No,
music?
I love classical music. I love it.
and we do have something that is, I would say, a classical track. It will be our bonus track on the album, which has not been released yet. We did that live, so there were a few, just little cuts of it online, and the song is very a classical thing with a little bit of guitar, but mainly a classic song.
Piano,
strings,
cello.
Actually, I used to play cello way back in the day. That was from elementary school all the way through high school too. Unfortunately, it became a lost art afterwards, so I lost my chance to be the Mozarts of the cello, for instance. So tragic,
so
to say the least.
You don't do that anymore? You don't play the cello anymore?
No, I actually traded for drums, of all things. So.
Well, that's not a bad trade, I would say.
You get more of a workout with the drums. You couldn't really do it much with cello, to be honest, too. It was more mental, if anything, with the cello. I would say I did feel kind of bad because when I went off to, in our case, university or college, as we like to say it in the States, it became a lost art because there wasn't a program for orchestra.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it just sat around collecting dust, and I just never got around to playing it, even after I graduated. So unfortunately, we sold it, and that's kind of I ended up taking up drums instead. So enjoy a nice little metal with some drumming. So we do that.
At least you do that for another instrument, because what's really sad is if people sell it and just sell it and don't do anything music-wise anymore. So that's great that you traded it for another instrument.
I was going to say that's when the alarm should be going off, saying like you need to have a life or something like that too, with anything with music-wise. So yeah. But I guess speaking of which, let's go ahead and jump into the music. I guess first off, who came up with the name Faceless Objects?
Well, his idea. When we met, he already had, I think, the whole name, or was it just more the Faceless? You knew that Faceless was going to be in it,
yes.
And we had a lot of talks, what we wanted to do with the project, what it should be about, and what kind of music we wanted to do. And so that came up. And Faceless Objects is the term for how an artist sees the world or the surroundings, the people, that you just you have to figure out like specifics to divide the people. So you go more for details, for biometric data, a little bit different than I would say like other people, normal people, but what is normal anyway?
Thank you.
Normal is a setting on a washing machine, and no one wants to be that, so.
That is very much true, yeah. In other words, it's like a blank canvas, for instance, too. We just have to put a face to it now. So, yeah, I can see what you mean, too. Actually, I forgot to ask, how did you guys meet?
How did we meet?
My car?
No. I think that was, we were just writing each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was somewhat online. That we just started talking about music, what the other one was doing, and what we always wanted to do, and then kind of found out, okay, we both want to do the same thing, but we never found the right people to do that, so why don't make something new together?
The way you kind of put it, too, it almost sounded like it was a romantic date, for instance. I mean, that could go wrong right here. It's almost like you got funny in my back of the car or something like that. So,
Biometric data.
Actually, the way you're kind of describing it too, it's almost like that face recognition technology that they're talking about. Where now apparently the camera can recognize anybody, or at least know when it's like committing a crime or going to get aggressive or something like that. It's either that or it's that TV show Person of Interest that I keep thinking of too. That's probably what it is. But nonetheless, I guess go ahead and talk about the music a little bit too. I guess how'd it all come about?
Well, you want to say something
You're
about
the
that?
talking part.
I'm the talking part. It's always me. Well, Mike always wanted to do something in the doom metal direction. Something heavy, something dark, something, slow that...
Me.
Yeah. But also, something that takes you away with it. So we have those psychedelic elements because he's a huge Pink Floyd fan. And so we started thinking about why not do a journey within each song? Why just do that? Some people do that within an album with different songs, but why not do that with each song? So you have maybe metal, you have maybe a bit of punk in it, psychedelic. You have things that take you into a trance and
stoner rock,
and we just go with the flow. You start composing and then you just go with the flow and see where it ends.
I did check out the Facebook page and it to say psychedelic, stoner, metal, rock, for instance. So we took 1 + 1 = 3 in this case. That's what we like to say.
Still a crossover project.
Yeah.
I see. I never understood the genres, so I always think it's a little strange too. Is it because it's kind of more of a groovy sort of metal style? It's not like the punk sort of in your face sort of style? Well, that was a question there, because that's the way I normally like to take it too, because normally the metal I kind of got into was more of the heavier death metal sort of sound too. That's how I got started. So, and I was always trying to figure out, because I guess, what sort of subjects do you guys talk about in your lyrics? You guys talk about personal, I guess, experiences, or do you like to tell a little story behind it?
Well, it is, I think, with most artists, it is personal experience. It is something that moves you, that you want to tell people. But also, it was always very important to us to leave enough room that the listener can find themselves in the songs and their own experience and what they are going through in life. And that was very important to us. So we tried to not completely, shove someone in a direction. You just, this is the song and this is about this and that, and that's it. We want the listener to think, to grow with it, to go with it, and to flow with it. So that everyone sees something different maybe in there. If you listen to lyrics, you find yourself in there, or something you went through, and someone else has a different perspective on it. And that was always very important for us, telling our own story, but letting people write their own story within our songs.
Love it. That's how I always like the music to go too. Always like a nice little story behind it, and that's like think in depth, that sort of thing too. So it's almost like think, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like we want to just yell at think.
Yes.
See what you mean? Yes, how far are you guys from Vienna and some of the other bigger cities in Austria?
Vienna?
Yeah. You're not that far away from Vienna? Like about...
30 miles.
30 miles, and I think...
It's not Vienna.
From here it's 200, I don't know how much.
150, 170
so I'm
kilometers.
I'm a
100
bit...
miles, 100 miles away.
So it's a bit further for me and
Around.
Not so much for him. He's closer to Vienna.
So I come here to let she talk.
Yeah. He came all the way.
We let the women do the talking. Let's say that much. Is that supposed to be the other way around? We let the men do the talking? I thought that's how the saying goes. Man, Mike, you're not sticking up to the topic, that's for sure. All right. It's all good. Actually, the reason I brought it up was because way back in the day, I actually been to Austria twice. And the first time was actually a high school trip, and we went to Salzburg.
Oh, that's nice.
Funny enough, that was actually where I went to see my first metal show, which was Job for a Cowboy and As LA Die. They happened to be in that day. So that was pretty funny too. And then the second time was with my parents. We went along the Danube River and we ended up in Vienna. Also went to Dürnstein, Linz. Who was it? Oh, fuck. No, Passau is part of Germany. I know it was definitely part of it, but that's unfortunately the German side. So those are the three that come to mind. So I think I might be leaving someone out, but we did stop at Salzburg again. So it was good to at least see that twice. So
it's pretty nice. And a metal show. I mean, what else could you want?
two birds, one stone, as they would say. Have you guys played any shows in Vienna and Salzburg?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're still, getting the band ready because it's just taking a little bit of time learning a whole album from, it's quite different than most people are used to playing, and getting the vibe together, but it's working out very well. We have a lot of fun and making very good progress, so I hope that in summer, autumn, that we can do like shows in the range of, I don't know, about 40 minutes to an hour or something like that.
I see. It'll be nice to get you touring too. I guess if you guys were to start touring, would you go to some of the neighboring countries like Czech Republic and Slovakia and Germany?
Well, of course, Poland, because they have, I think, the most insane metal fans from what you see. So I guess that would be quite fun to do a show there. But I guess just everywhere where people want to see us. So
I think we're going to blame Behemoth for the insanity that's going on in Poland. So
Big show.
Yeah, that's awful. I guess, did you guys play in other groups before forming Faceless Objects? If you want to talk about them, go ahead.
Oh, yes, I did, but I still can't remember. Was always really short, small bands. Most times I'm composing.
Didn't really go anywhere, anything like that. They just really wanted to goof around. And I guess, Ella, did you play any other bands before this one, or no?
nothing worth mentioning.
All right, fair enough. Normally, it's always good to get his backstory, but nonetheless. Let's just go ahead and jump to this one here, I guess. How bad did COVID impact you both?
It did, and it didn't at the same time, because we started the project in COVID time. So it was already a different thing starting, because you had those regulations, and we weren't, we didn't face the same problems as other bands who already existed, because they depended on live shows. Everything was gone, and we just started and did the composing and putting everything together. So this didn't affect us that much. But with all those things, like you couldn't travel, you had to do testing to get out of your city. Things like if you want to do a video somewhere, no one would let you in, even if it was just a basement. No one would let you do a video anywhere, because no one wanted to have anyone somewhere where something could happen, or you get a penalty for letting someone in. So this was hard. Yeah, it was hard, because I had to go to the studio from here to in Neustadt, and that was quite difficult at sometimes. With, okay, you're not allowed to travel now, you have to stay home, you don't get to go into the city, and that was just, it was bad. And I hope that never comes back, because that was just a really, really bad time. And it affects your creativity. It just dulls you down, it just brings you down, and not a nice thing to happen.
And almost impossible to find good places for making the videos.
Yeah. Really have to think outside the box. First you think, it would be cool to do this in like a basement or like in a castle or something, but then you just have to think in other directions. Like, we ended up then doing green screen ourselves, because we ran out of options, and so what are you going to do? You just try to to get new technologies and new possibilities as much as you can.
One video in the park and the second in the cave.
Yeah, and at some ruins from an old medieval castle. So.
Oh man, Austria, if they were that strict in terms of their COVID policies, you really couldn't do much.
Yeah, it was really bad because, as I said, it isn't just something that's annoying. It's eating on your soul over time. It just really does.
Yeah, I can see what you mean too. I guess, did you guys have any brushes with COVID? Were your families okay?
We didn't have any, bad things. We all had it, but it was like having a little bit of a cold or a sneeze, and it just went away. I don't know. I really don't know how many times I had it. It just, at some point, you didn't really care about it anymore. So I wasn't one of those who really got affected that much, and none of our families were, so we were all okay with this thing.
Yes, Meg, were you okay as well? Family okay as well?
Yes.
Short and sweet. That's all good. Good to see you guys made it through it, so it's good to have you along for the ride. And hopefully better days are ahead of us too. So here's hoping. And I guess when you guys are talking about some of your music videos and stuff, I know you talked about castle ruins and stuff like that too, because the one castle I did see was in Salzburg, the fortress on the hill there. Hohen Festung, I think that's what it was called, or maybe it was just the name on the ticket, but whatever. I guess, so what other castles are there in Austria?
Oh, there are many, many castles.
Yes.
I don't even know how many, but I know because I have a book which has all the pictures or the drawings from like medieval times, like they used to look like, and the book is about this big. And there's just numerous castles, there's ruins, there's really a lot of those going on there. Some of them are for visitors. You can go there. You have entrance fee and you get something to look at, or a tour or something like that. Or you have the ruins that you have to go look up yourself. Many places that you are not allowed to go to, but that's more like, the thing of if something happens, it's your own fault and no one takes responsibility if you fall down somewhere. So if you're careful, you can visit a lot of those ruins too.
You don't sign a liability form, as they was probably like some people would want us to do. So actually, I was kind of leaning into this, but I guess, how is the music scene in Austria these days? Is it more concentrated in the cities, or is it pretty spread out all throughout the country?
Oh. A lot of the music scene, actually, I think it's hard to say it died, but at some point it really slowed down. A lot of people stopped making music, a lot of bands just, quit. But you can see that people are coming back and are saying, okay, I'm gonna try, make a new band and do this. But I think it's always more concentrated in the cities than like outside. It's really hard finding something outside, so most people just go to the cities. But what I've seen, the smaller bands playing at venues, not many people attend anymore for the no-name bands because everyone just runs to the big stars and the big shots, and that's a pity. Support for local bands just really got even less than it was before COVID. That's bad.
It was almost like COVID was the final nail in the coffin, as we probably like to say.
Unfortunately, it was, yeah.
Say that, they just wanted to go north and party in Poland, where all the metalheads wanted to go. Or they wanted to go even farther north, to Scandinavia, the Vikings, and all those guys. So
that would be nice too, yeah.
I know we gotta bring the Viking tradition down to Austria now. So maybe that's what we gotta do. So we'll see what happens. But I guess for people, and maybe this is just from your personal experience, where do you think tourists should go visit outside of like Vienna? Because obviously Vienna is like big city with like everything, the Schönbrunn Palace and everything too. So I guess say try to come out and visit the countryside.
Well, of course, countryside is beautiful. You know, you have different kind of scenery in each part of Austria. If you like, you know, more the tree side or more the mountains or more the lakes, so whatever, you know, or do a tour of it all.
Less human.
Yeah.
All right, you heard from these folks. Outside of the Georgetown was pretty nice, but man, that was a hell of a climb. Just getting up to the one castle that was on the hill there, where I guess that's a story of how Robin Hood came about, because they were holding King Richard in there. So it was actually an interesting story too. So that was always something to learn. So needless to say, I got my exercise for a day, but I forgot to do peach schnapps. So that one I kind of regretted not trying. So still good nonetheless.
There's a lot of things you can do. It's just not the cities and, you know, architecture. The landscape is really beautiful, and whatever you're into, you're gonna find it somewhere. You know, if you're into wine or biking or I don't know, you just decide on what to do. Carinthia is very nice because it has mountains, it has lakes, so there's quite everything more or less in one space.
I do remember hearing about Carinthia, and that was one of the Habsburg territories. I'm just trying to think if it was Rudolph, one of the emperors of the Holy Roman Empire. So that was, we're not kind of diving into history a little bit too, so I don't know how well your history is outside of maybe just having that thick book that talked about all the castles and everything. So needless to say, the Habsburgs mismanaged taxpayers' money, to say the least. So see what you mean. Actually, I would say Wiener Schnitzel. I actually had Wiener Schnitzel when I was in Vienna, so that was pretty damn good. Very good. Sehr gut. Sehr gut.
Sehr gut. Sehr gut. Perfect.
Or we say it in Italian, perfecto. So,
Italian.
I do have to say, in terms of microbreweries, because it seems like in the States, everyone and their grandmother has some sort of microbrewery. Do you guys do a lot of microbreweries in Austria?
I actually don't know. I really don't know.
I wasn't sure. It's a good economic buildup, that's for sure, too. Even though it's always good to... I was trying to figure out the words. I'm losing my train of thought right there. It's always good to have a drink in hand, to be honest, too. So
yeah.
Even though it's probably best to rip it away from the bigger, in this case, corporations that make the beer for you. So yeah. It's fun to be a nice little entrepreneurial experience.
It is growing, I think, but I don't know. This whole thing with COVID also killed a lot of those, because so many things disappeared, because it you know, it looked like this is a growing business and a growing thing, and then so much disappeared again and was gone. So I don't really know.
So that was another thing that killed, was the beer industry in a way. So
yeah.
I see. Well, like I said, hopefully brighter days are ahead of us too. Have you guys actually been to Neuschwanstein and Füssen, Germany?
No, I think I was. The only thing I was in Germany was Frankfurt once, but that's it. Never been anywhere else in Germany.
That's strongly recommended.
Frankfurt to Berlin and in one guitar shop in Germany, I know Thomann. Oh, no advertisements.
Yeah, Germany's a beautiful country too. Actually got a good number of friends out of Germany as well, mostly drummers, I should say the least. So I did interview a couple indie musicians out of Germany. So, and funny enough, one of them actually had a French style sort of name. Joel Dubois, aka Steam Slicer, is his name. So, shout out to Joel, by the way. Okay. So I guess let's get back into music here a little bit too. I guess who would you guys consider has been your biggest influence in terms of, I guess, Mike guitar play and then Ella both bass and vocal wise?
You want to start?
No.
No, of course
Talking
not.
Gentlemen, are we?
I would say that my favorite band of all time is Judas Priest. So vocalist, definitely Rob Halford. Always admired what he could do with his voice. That was just outstanding to me. Also loved the music a lot, and I would say in terms of bass playing, I'm really a huge Cliff fan, from Metallica, Cliff Burton, and just think that he went far too soon, and that's really a pity, because he was like not just a great bass player, he was a great composer, and he was a stage animal, and just a pity that he's gone.
Mm.
Yeah, that's for sure too. And actually, the story was it could have been Kirk in that case, because they was they played that game, and it could have been Kirk in that bed. So it's a little bit touching that way too. But man, you're all right. It was taken way too soon, and I always laugh every time I hear "For Whom the Bell Tolls," because you always think like, man, that was some killer guitar, and you're thinking like, no, that was the bass player.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was amazing, man. So. All right. And Mike?
With the live footage, when you just see him play that, it's just awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Pink Floyd is a great inspiration for me. I also love Rage Against the Machine, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Oh, man. Actually, you get along with a friend of mine I knew from high school, because every single day, he would be wearing the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, the one with the big prism triangle with the rainbow coming through it. He wore it every day of his life, and I don't even know if he watched it, to be honest, too. It's either that, or he just had, like, a separate set. It was always the same clothes, too. So, I mean, love the kid, too, but I have not seen him in a few years now, so kind of miss him, too. So, you two would get along. I'll tell you that much, too. But I guess why Rage Against the Machine? Is it because you really liked Tom Morello's sort of style, or do you like everyone in general?
Also, the really, really good lyrics. If you
like
know,
De La Rocha, yeah.
It's a machine, no?
Yeah, that's for sure, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all cool. I guess let's go ahead and talk about the gear a little bit, too. So I guess, is that one of your basses back there, Ella?
Yeah, that's one of them. Mostly play the Dark Lord Vampire now for most of the songs. I did recordings with this one. I think that was, let me think, From Lost to Arising. I did the recordings with this one, with the Ibanez. Everything from Obsessed until now was the Dark Lord Vampire that you see in most pictures now online.
Because we switched tuning, the song tunings from D to B.
And
we got another one.
And this one.
Fame Baphomet.
This was for Confused and also for Void.
Yes, Void.
A nice one too.
Void is bonus track of
Yeah.
the first album.
Looks so killer. All right, and I guess Mike, what sort of guitars do you use?
I love my Jackson guitars. Yeah. Love my US Jackson, my Japanese Jacksons, and also play Fender, Stratocaster, Telecaster, and Fernandez, Schecter. I got them all.
And he plays
I got
them.
it all.
7-string, 8-string, 6-string, whatever.
He's got it all. That's pretty damn cool. Actually, I'm going to start chanting USA as soon as you start saying Jackson, Fender, and all those guys too. So
My favorite guitar is US Custom Jackson, yes.
All right, my man. That's for sure. Let's say, man, you were shredding it up too when I was listening to some of your music last night too. But I guess not to get off topic, we'll get back to gear in just a second. But Mike, I guess, where does your inspiration come from in terms of putting together a song? Like, maybe do you listen to a lot of the Pink Floyd and then like it's like, okay, let's try this and see where it goes?
I don't know. It's hard to explain. My inspiration comes out of my story, my past. This is much more than Pink Floyd. But I can't give you an exact answer for this question.
I can try because I've...
Go for it.
You know, when
Right.
we do composing, it's the music just comes out of him. It isn't like he sits down and writes something, or sometimes I don't even think he thinks about it. It just comes right out of him. And all those guitar solos, he's just, I don't know, I've never seen anything like this. This amazes me to this day, how you can do that. Just sit there and feel that, and just, it comes just out. You know, people just, others just sitting there thinking, oh, what can I do, and which notes to play, and writing down, and, you know, analyzing and something. And he's just doing it. And those are our songs now.
It's because I play Jackson.
Yeah. But not just Jackson, because in the beginning you were playing with the PRS.
PRS,
Yeah.
Custom, and Fernandez. It's
In other words, the divine cosmos is one with Mike on that day when he shredded. So it's interesting to me too. And I think sometimes when I'm listening to music too, I'm always like thinking like, okay, what can I do differently here? Because I've actually jumped into a couple collab projects in the indie community. So when I was trying to figure out how to do drums for the certain part too, I think like, okay, how can I make this stay in the rhythm, the beat, as we like to say, and then still make it sound badass. So just something clicks. I mean, I know what you mean, Mike. It's just that thing that just clicks right in your mind and everything too. So I can see what you mean. I guess getting back into gear, I guess, what sort of amps and I guess computer software do you all use in terms of like DAWs? And I guess before you found a drummer, I guess, were you using a drumming program?
so weit verstanden.
Software and drumming program.
Drumming program is modified by myself. It's not a new version, but it's Addictive Drums with some modifications, and it's possible to create very fine sounds with it, but it's not the same as recording a live drum in the studio. That's a problem. On next album we will record the drum set live. A real drum set.
A real drum set. Yes.
Yes.
With the acoustic. I guess what sort of DAW did you guys use? I guess were you using like Logic, Ableton, any of those ones?
Some different. I love Isotope Ozone products. You know that?
I've heard of them, yeah. Except I think it was more for mastering, to be honest. But go ahead.
I guess. And wie heißt das? I don't know the name. It wie heißt das?
Simplitud?
Nein, es ist eben nicht Simplitud. Sequoia. Magic Sequoia Studio.
Okay. That's pretty interesting.
Amplitude series with much more content in the application.
Yeah, these days they pretty much sure everything but the kitchen sink in today's DAWs, that's for sure.
big Tascam Model 24 analog digital mixer.
Oh, sweet. That sounds pretty badass. I guess, is this, I don't know, are you guys going to the studio sometime this year? Is it going to be like this summer?
What do you mean with going to the studio?
I guess, is this going to be your first time going into an actual studio? Because it sounded like before you were doing the music all in your homes, or you were like sending it through email. So is this your first time going into an actual studio and recording music, or have you all done it in the past?
We have our own studio, so we don't have to go anywhere. We just do that because it's Mike's studio, and we do all the recording there. We do all the mastering
except drums.
Except the drums. And yeah, I don't know, the drums we will record, I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe at some other studio.
We cannot record the drums in our studio.
That is the only thing we can't do.
But we got a place where we can do that.
I guess, what is that place where you do the drums? Is it local?
Yeah, it's local. It's where we do the rehearsals, because they have a recording studio there as well, and we can do that there. It's a great place there, and you have all in one building, so to speak.
It's possible, and it's important to bring up better drum sounds, because it's most important.
That's for sure. All right, can't wait to hear it. So good luck to y'all. So let's see.
Thanks.
I guess when you guys are creating a song, for instance, too, do you try to write all the music parts first? So like Mike will put down his, Ella, you'll do the bass part, then do lyrics last? Or do you tend to do it vice versa, or maybe sometimes both, depending on the song?
I think most of the time we talk about what the song will be about, and then we start the composing. And once the part for the lyrics is there, I just wait until the lyrics come to mind. Mm-hmm. So, I have the story, and I then know where to put the lyrics, and at some point they just, I think, appear, and it's most of the time it starts with one word or one sentence, and then I just write it down. But I would say it was always music first. Mm-hmm. We never had lyrics and then did the music. It was always music first and then the lyrics.
I need to talk about the story, so I can think about the story, and a new idea comes to my mind, sometimes within 1 minute and sometimes within 2 days.
You can say that we have a story, and he translates the story into music. We have the story, what the song is about, and Mike translates that story into music, and I translate the music into the visuals, the video. So that's kind of how it works.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I've always thought you needed the music first before you start putting the lyrics in too, so I'm kind of the same way. So I can see what you mean. So I guess, what social media are you guys on too? Because I followed you guys on Facebook there. Are you guys on YouTube and all those other ones? And I guess what streaming platforms are you on?
We have a YouTube channel, we have Facebook, we have Instagram and website, and you can find us on, I think, about any streaming platforms,
172.
The big ones and the smaller ones. So, dear Spotify, of course, and iTunes and Amazon Music.
YouTube Music, Amazon Music.
Yeah, so you can find us everywhere.
Visa.
Yeah.
Our face is everywhere, as we like to say. So, all right. That's cool. It was actually into this, I guess. Is there something you hope to achieve with your social media, or are you just hoping to get a nice crowd to listen to your music?
I think that's all you can achieve nowadays with social media. You just, spread your music, gain new people who like your music, and maybe distribute it to other people. Because I don't think that it's a thing anymore to live off the profits that you get from, I don't know, streams. You can sell your albums at a live gig or through your web shop, but with the streams, I don't know, because that's like up in the skies where you have to be to earn a little bit of money. So it's just, distributing, it's gaining fans and an audience that is willing to buy your album somewhere else where you actually get a little bit of money for it. So
Yeah.
continue doing the music and keeping up with the gear and keep doing good songs.
No money, no Jackson from US.
Yeah, that's for sure. I guess, speaking of which, do you guys work multiple jobs? Or is music like strictly your only job?
It is.
Music is my job, is our job.
Yeah.
The studio.
I was going to say, yeah, Mike, you at least got the studio, so you got that working. I tend to work 2 jobs, and this podcasting is like a 3rd job, to be honest, since I'm able to do it on the weekends and everything. So most of the people I have interviewed, they've obviously worked multiple jobs because they're your middle class sort of families. They got maybe kids. They maybe got high bills and everything, stuff like that too. So you can see why. So these days, society's pretty demanding. So that's why I asked. Before we jump into challenges in terms of musicians-wise, I guess, do you guys maybe hope to be influencers in some sort of way? Or I guess you're just going to keep rolling with what you're doing?
I think both. I think we will continue to do what we love and put out the music that we love, but we also hope that people like it. And maybe, if it helps someone through a rough day or a rough phase, or, just maybe put a smile on someone's face, that's perfect, because then, you did something of worth in this world.
The most rewarding experience. We helped somebody out. So, all right. What would you say that's maybe part of the challenges is getting your music out there, like in terms of marketing, or what are challenges do you both face, being musicians?
Yeah, getting the music out there, because, the internet is full of music. There's just, everyone has this possibility of getting their music out this way or another way. So you're flooded with music, and there's new music every day. And it's quite hard to stand out from all that great musicians and that great music, and to reach people, because most of the time people don't even take the time anymore to listen to something new, because I'd rather go with what I know and buy an album of a band I already know. I don't have the time to listen to that or think about that. And so that, I think that is a challenge, yeah, to reach people, to really get them to stop and listen and watch and think and stay with it. I think that's not so easy anymore.
No, but certainly trying to connect with them, going back to the social media we were talking about earlier. So it's just a matter of who's listening and who's watching at that point. So
yeah,
tragically, the bots seem to be the ones always paying attention. So
yeah.
I'm sure you also got hit with those messages, be like, "Oh, we'll expand your music on this," say Spotify, for instance. So
yeah, thanks a lot, but no
thanks.
You get those messages every day, and it's annoying, just people trying to rip off musicians who already have no money. So it's just sad.
Tragic, yeah. But I guess in terms of advice you'd want to give to musicians in general, so I guess what sort of advice would you give to musicians in our, I guess, Band Together group on Facebook there, and I guess other musicians who are perhaps looking to get into music?
You want to do this? Okay. I would say never give up. Don't go for anything that you don't want to do just because you might sell more or be more popular, because once you sell out this way, your creativity will just go down the drain. And I think it's very important to stay authentic, to stay yourself and to show yourself, because in the end that's what people want to see, and they want to see a real person, a real performance, something they can maybe escape everyday life, have some fun, just be yourself and don't give up.
Play what you love to play.
Yeah, and stay with what you want to do and what you want to say, because the right people will listen to it and you will stay happy with the thing that you do.
All right, sounds good. You heard from these guys right here. So, Ella and Mike, we appreciate the questions here pretty good. We're down to the fun ones right now. So, you all ready?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, let's do this.
I guess first off, where'd you guys come up with the nicknames? I guess I know Ella's, but I guess Mike, what's your nickname?
my what?
Spitzname.
Mike.
Oh,
It's his
man.
nickname.
Special name.
I thought there'd be a special name. I thought that's how it was supposed to go. Everybody needs one. I guess, Ella, how'd you come up with yours?
I have a few. I think Ella is one, but it's also Buffy.
Ella, Buffy, Hey.
And then I think Miss Baphomet. So
Whatever.
Just variations of the name.
Lady Baphomet, as we probably like to say.
That one is missing.
Lucifer.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, everyone's got a nickname. Mike, you gotta get one. Come on. You gotta think of something. We'll think of something along the way. So, but in terms of fun questions, that one I just wanted to get out there too, because I always love it when people come up with nicknames for their bands and everything too. But for the fun questions here, I guess, what would you say is your favorite food?
Oh, God. Can you explain the crunchy wraps, Ella?
He loves crunch wraps, and
Yes.
they are something special that I do sometimes. They have different layers. It's quite hard to explain. Those are the tortillas, and they have 3 layers of fillings with a lot of stuff in it. Vegetables, nuts, corn, beans, salad, cabbage, onions, and cheese, but all vegan, because we are vegan. So
I think that's my favorite.
yeah, he loves them, but it's one hell of a work to do them. So I don't do them that often.
It's his reward for good music.
Have
Yeah.
to travel 100 miles to get one.
But it's worth it.
Yeah.
Well, we know he's driving 100 on the highway, that's for sure, just to get home and try one. But I guess, Ella, what's your favorite food, or do you also share the same one that he does?
I like them a lot, but if you have to cook them, maybe not so much anymore. I think I would go with pizza or something like that. I don't really think I have a favorite food. I don't care so much for food, to be honest.
Hey, you gotta do what you can. All right, I see what you mean. For the next one here, I guess, what would you say is your favorite movie?
Oh. I don't know any movies.
Yeah, sure you do.
What?
You're the film and entertainment one. Look it up.
Horror movies.
Horror movies.
What about
Yes.
Saw?
Okay. Horror movies, but Saw, yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's the only one.
Yeah. So you have one.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, that's nice too, yeah.
Hitchcock. Oh, that's pretty good. Actually, I was trying to remember. I remember there was a Prince of Transylvania, and I think the Habsburgs, go back to history, I think they did have some sort of political connection with the Prince of Transylvania too. So I could definitely see the vampire sort of theme. Horror movies you probably would be into too. So, and Ella, I guess what would you say is your favorite movie?
I would go with. I really love Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson's version of it, and The Shining with Jack Nicholson. I think that is my favorite one.
Here's Johnny.
Here's Johnny.
Oh my god. I still can't get over the fact that was improvised.
The Crow.
Yes, I love The Crow.
Yeah.
I remember.
With Brandon Lee.
Yes, the first film.
That was amazing.
First movie.
That was an amazing movie, yeah.
They're already dead. They just don't know it yet.
Good music.
Yeah. All right, good choice. Next one here. What would you consider as your favorite drinks in terms of alcohol and non-alcoholic?
Coffee. Coffee.
Coffee.
And I think drinks with ginger in it. If it's a lot of ginger, really strong ones. Like when they burn on your tongue. That's something I like, yeah.
I was trying to remember if mojitos had any ginger in it, which might vary a little bit too, but I'm not sure. So I just remember when we were doing our Red tour.
Coffee and Coca-Cola.
She's a Coke drinker. Yes, my man. So I can do it to me. Do you guys try actually does Austria have their own Coke products they try to sell as well outside of the traditional Coca-Cola, or do they have? I was trying to think if they had a local brand or something.
Yeah, the supermarkets do have their cheap versions of it. I think that each supermarket has its own cheap version of Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But some of them are better than the original.
Yeah, sometimes there are really good ones, and they are about half the price or even less than half the price of Coca-Cola. So
tragically, they are better than the original. So I see what you mean. All right. And for lots of fun questions, what would you consider is your favorite song or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
That is a tough one. That is a tough one. Do you have a favorite song at the moment?
Every day a new one.
Yeah, I guess I would go with my favorite song of all time. That's Electric Eye by Judas Priest. I can listen to that anytime, every day. But in terms of other songs, it's just really something different each day, or at least every second or third day, just how you feel and what speaks to you. So that really changes a lot.
So as soon as you said Electric Eye, I was going to say, as soon as you said Electric Eye, I immediately thought of Helion that always kicks it off and then leads right into Electric Eye. So I was saying you definitely need that in order to go into Electric Eye and everything too.
Yeah. What's your favorite song at the moment?
Let's see. I think what's funny is people always say it changes, and I can see why. And that's a funny thing about it. I think still at the moment, I'm still going to have to say Ants of the Sky by Between the Buried and Me. It's a progressive metal band out of the U.S. So just something about it, too. But I think when it comes to the progressive metal, they're always, first off, the songs are always real long, too. They tend to go 10 minutes and beyond. But then it's just something about it. And the production, everything just sounds crisp, clean. It just gets the blood pumping and everything, too. Just love certain parts. And I actually did make a YouTube video, which listed all my favorite parts from Between the Buried and Me, and the one part in it from Ants of the Sky happened to be in it. So I share my experiences. So hopefully that answers your question.
Gotta check that out. Maybe you can send a link or something for that song?
Yeah, sure. You can do that. I would say, are you guys really into the death heavy sort of style of music as well? I guess, do you dig some of the black metal that comes out of Poland as well?
Not so much.
Not really.
Not really into death or thrash metal. I was when I was younger, but not so much anymore. Just like I think more the old school things like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Alice Cooper. I love Alice Cooper a lot, and also newer bands, but more melodic, more heavy rock, heavy metal, more in that kind of style.
I did forget to ask, I guess, who introduced you to classic rock? Was it one of your parents, or did you find it out on your own?
No, definitely not my parents. I gotta think. I think that the first thing that came up was, I think I heard Poison of Alice Cooper somewhere in a TV show, and that just hit me. And Judas Priest was a friend in school who just gave me the CD and said, "Hey, give it a listen because I think you're going to love that." And I just put it into my CD player, and the first seconds of the Hellion and Electric Eye, because it was the Screaming for Vengeance album, and that just, that took me for life. I think those were the key moments.
I would say, in terms of Judas Priest, I'd say we always loved it when You Got Another Thing Coming came on the radio. Oh, my gosh. That one I would say I think is their best one. Of course, that's just me, so I'll leave it up to you, though. I would say, actually, there was a TV show I used to watch, and one of the guys said, like, prepare to scream for vengeance, ladies, because he was referencing to Scream for Vengeance. So good choices nonetheless, too. So, all right. Ella, Mike, we're down to one more question. Before we jump into it, did you have any other questions for me or any final words you want to say before we close into it?
You have anything?
No. You?
Do you have any band you're in now that we can follow or check out?
Mine's always been, I actually did a collab this year, and funny enough, it was with Storm Kingdom, and the song was Not for the Faint of Heart. So I go under the name Demiurge, Demiurge. So
Okay.
but I think it's under Storm Kingdom, but you'll see it's featuring me on it too. So yeah. I got a couple other ones I'm working on with Bond of Iniquity and Waiting at the Bridge. So still in the works. So we'll see what happens there. Actually trying out vocals, and then the ones with Waiting at the Bridge, I'm actually trying my drums out. So unfortunately my computer crashed last night, so I didn't save it. So I lost my drums. So I had to start that one over again. So tragic, to say the least.
How did everything start for you, as a musician or listening to heavy music? Was it the family in your case?
In my case, yeah, my dad was really big into the classic rock. He knew about Judas Priest. He wasn't really like a big fan, but he really loved You Got Another Thing Coming. He really loved that song from Judas Priest. He never really got into the 80s. He knew about the bands. I'd say probably as far as he would go in terms of like listening to a lot of 80s music, it'd be Metallica. So, and we used to have like an hour-long radio station that came like between like 5 and 6 my time. And that's why I was real young too. And I just remember listening to No Remorse. Just absolutely loving it. So it started off that way. And I could say I was pretty much a metalhead at a young age, but I never really expanded my music. I was always stuck to like Van Halen, maybe a little bit Black Sabbath. It was more like Bruce Springsteen and Vertical Horizon, and those sorts of groups. But then a friend of mine introduced me to alternative metal and rock. That was like Story of the Year. Bands that switched between like screaming and like clean vocals, for instance. So I rolled with that, and then I think it was high school I fell into what I call my deathcore phase. Bands do like a lot of breakdowns. It's like heavier music, that sort of stuff. And really I found, and I think I mentioned it earlier, I found death metal quite by accident, because I think it was during my deathcore phase where I stumbled into like Dying Fetus, Misery Index, those sorts of heavy groups. And a friend of mine at school was even wearing a Behemoth shirt, so I think that's kind of how he got me into it. So it's more to the heavier music. And these days, now when I do drums, I really like to do a lot of double foot pedal, some blast beating here and there, because I like doing some Napalm Death, which I got a couple drum covers in the works right now. So, but for cello wise, I think it was good. My parents wanted to get me into an instrument, so we checked out strings. I think originally I was looking at the double bass back in the day, and they were like, "Oh no, you're not doing that." And I didn't really like the violin being stuck like that too. I think I would have been uncomfortable trying that. So cello seemed to be the way to go, and I rolled with that for about 9 years, and then college came around, and when I got to drums, it was because of the video game Rock Band. So,
Oh, okay.
so, and the rest is history after that.
I think it's nice if your family was into this and supporting you. That's great, because not every family is like that.
Yes.
I'd say they're not too much into the metal phase, but they still love me, and that's all that matters in the end. So, even though they might give it a listen, just so they can at least give me that stream. We get that one stream, so that's all that matters. So, I guess got any other ones or?
Do you have one? Do you have any questions?
I'm just interested which instruments you can play.
Besides drums and...
Yes. Ever tried play guitar?
Actually, believe it or not, I used to have an acoustic one too, but unfortunately the little bridge at the end broke, so that one was history. I actually have tried bass a couple times, believe it or not, and it's actually tucked in here right now in my little closet. And it's kind of a Chinese ripoff. It's not really anything special, but I have done a couple bass covers, and I think I've tried messing around with it a couple times, doing this and that. I think I remember tuning it down to, because it was standard tuning, and I did from like D to E to D, kind of make it a little bit lower. So I know a little bit of bass, but unfortunately I'm more into drums, if anything else.
Oh, I know a lot of drummers. They can also play guitars or other instruments.
Yeah, we tend to broaden our knowledge, or somehow we've just came into drumming because we wanted to make loud noises. We're looking for something that gave us more of a workout, to be honest. So, okay.
A lot of energy.
I'm sorry, what?
You need a lot of energy for that too, because, you know.
That too. It builds the spirit.
Kind of workout.
I like to be brutalized. It helps my spirit. So. Okay. Got any others? Or?
No, I can't think of anything right now.
We'll ask you something more in the next interview.
Yeah, it's be like, oh, we should have asked him that question.
An interview with you.
Yeah, we'll think of some questions for you next time.
All right, sounds good. But in terms of the last question right here, and you might have harped on it a little bit too, but just to kind of reiterate for the audience, given what COVID has done, obviously it seems you guys are pretty blessed in a way. You obviously were able to form this project, Faceless Objects. Seem to be heading in the right direction and everything too. But for those impacted by COVID, and I guess anything else in their lives too, what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in a post-COVID world?
I would say the same for musicians as for everyone. Don't give up. Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop fighting. You know, you can always turn things around. You can always change things, and just get up. Don't stay down, and don't let anyone push you down. Just stay in the game. Just keep it up, and remember there's other people too that are going through the same thing. You're not alone. Don't isolate yourself from others. You know, there's been a lot of things going on that people got very anti-social. You know, everyone just for himself. No one cares about one another anymore. So I think that would be a good thing to change, because if people would work more together and care more for each other, I think a lot of things would be easier, because you can work together, help each other. just watch out for others too and not yourself.
Thank you.
I'll say, Mike, I'm not going to throw anything in.
I think he agrees.
What she said, yeah.
What she said, yeah.
All right, fair enough. Spoken like a true prodigy. All right. So, Ella, Mike, we've reached the end of my podcast right here. We talked for a little over an hour. And you guys got any final words? Any shout-outs you want to give before we close?
Thank you so much for having us, for reaching out.
Thank you really much.
It was a real pleasure. Thanks in advance for everyone who will be watching this and maybe checking us out online somewhere, or music or videos. And yeah, hope to do this again sometime. It's been real fun.
It's a sure. I know some German, so it's still my blood and everything too. So, right. And I guess just to reiterate for the audience, so what social media and streaming platforms are you on, so the audience knows where to check out your music and everything?
You can check out our music on our YouTube channel. You can find all the videos there and interviews, specials like making-ofs and that sort of thing. You can stream or buy our music on any streaming platform like Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, whatever you want, like, or choose. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, and we do have a website, facelessobjects.com.
All right, you heard from these guys right here. All right, so everyone, my guest today was Ella and Mike, hailing from Austria. They're part of the band Faceless Objects. Gonna be in the studio here pretty soon. Gonna put out some new music and everything. Gonna see what happens. So, fingers crossed. Here's for 2024. And also another shout out to March for Women, where we also celebrate women in metal. There's actually a big shout out to Liquid Metal, who that's probably what I should have mentioned earlier too. So I'm sorry I got to it a little bit late, but we are celebrating women in the metal world. So Ella, thank you so much for what you do right there, and Mike, keep on shredding, brother. So you all stay safe. Rock on.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.